Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Ascot Racecourse here on Friday. It is the 23rd of June, 2023. Going to look at all the races on day 4 of the Royal Meeting from Ascot. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And I mean around the world. Let's look at all the action. Starting off with the first race, 2:30 here. It is the Group 3 Albany Stakes. It's a Group 3 event for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $120,000. Race for 2-year-old fillies here. 18 horses are going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. I'm going to take here the 18 horse Soprano as a top selection. 18-6 in my forecast exacta. 18-6 forecast exacta. That's my top 2 basically. Use them definitely in the plays pot here, but the top selection, the 18 horse Soprano. This 2-year-old filly by Star Spangled Banner. George Bowie trains. William Buick gets the mount. Horses started once. That came on the 5th of May in Newmarket on the Rolling Mile. 5 furlongs in a 2-year-old maiden race, and the horse won by 1 3/4 lengths that day. And basically, she broke well that day. She stalked when she got to the front end, and she quickened up at the top lane. She got the job done, won by open lengths. She probably could have won by more, but William didn't want to kill the horse. It was an all-around good race. She's drawn on the stand side. She should handle the fast going. She could be forwardly paced. I think she's sitting on a very good run, and I think she could get the job done. At 4-1, I'm going to use her. The 6-horse Jabara for David Egan and Roger Varian, I think she's your second likeliest winner. Most recently on the 20th of May at Newmarket, 6 furlongs in a novice race. The horse won by 3/4 in length, and again, he sat back early, had a little bit of trouble getting the good turn of foot, but when she finally did, she took off clear. Another very good, easy run. Coming here, I think I like definitely the stand side poster with these 5 furlong turf sprints. I like horses being forwardly paced, and I think these 2 I have on top could definitely get the job done. We'll use it in this very wide open race. So to recap my selection for the 2:30, the first race from Ascot, it's the Group 3 Albany Stakes. Gonna take the 18 horse Soprano, give kudos to the 6 horse Javara, 18-6 forecast exacta, use them both in the multi race. The second race, the 305, it's co-featured on the program. It's the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup. It's a Group 1 event going for a purse of $720,000, race for 3-year-olds here. Field of 13 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 2 horse Little Big Bear. 2-11-8 in your forecast exacta. 2-11-8 forecast exacta. Top selection 2 horse Little Big Bear. This 3-year-old colt by No Nay Never. Ian O'Brien trains one for Coolmore. Ryan Moore gets them out. The horse's most recent outing came the Group 2 Sandy Lane Stakes at Haydock, 6 furlongs on the 27th of May, and the horse won by 1 1/4 lengths. It was the right thing bringing this horse back to sprinting. We'll get to the route race before, but that race at Haydock, he basically stalked. When he got to the front end, he quickened up. He was drifting a little bit late, but it was an all-around easy run for him. He wanted to go a sprinting trip, and he did wonders with it. He gets a good poster here today. He can be forwardly paced, and watch out for him here today. He also gets some slight class relief. Considers a race 2 back. He ran in the Group 1 2,000 guineas in Newmarket. 1 mile soft ground, 6th of May. The horse finished 14th by 20 and 3/4 lengths that day. Wanted to go. Wayne Lord didn't want to let the horse go. Was under the drive and then just not selling late. It wasn't the day to win. This race kind of reminds me of a race like we have here in New York around this time of year. It was run 2 weeks ago, the Woody Stevens. A lot of these horses in the Woody Stevens cut back and trip from the 1 1/4 or the 1.8 that they were running in the Derby prep races to 7 furlongs. This is kind of the similar race that they have in the UK. You have the horses in the Guineas just not getting the mile trip, cutting back to 6. And, it's a very good division. And as the season goes on, you'll see probably these horses running, shall we say, maybe the July Cup next start out, the Haydock Sprint Cup, and later on in the season at Ascot on Champions Day. But, it's just an exciting, with these horses cutting back and trip. But this horse going back turn now, or him in the 2,000 guineas, he just wasn't getting the trip. It was also his first start since the 6th of August. That came up at the Curragh. 6 furlongs in the Group 1 Phoenix Stakes. The horse won by 7 lengths and put on a show on the front end. He quickened up and he kept going, and all around easy run that day. And then before and in a Group 3 at the Curragh over the 6, he finished. He won by 4 3/4 lengths, and again easy run. He won the Windsor Castle here quite nicely last year, also from the stand side. Coming to use him here at 7-5. I'll use him. I think the 11 horse here is your second likeliest winner, Lizo, for Ralph Beckett and Frankie Dettori. Most recently, another horse just in the Guineas wasn't getting the trip, finished 8th by 13.5 lengths. The final 2 furlongs were just really tiring for him. It was also his first start since the Chevrolet Park in Newmarket over the 6th in September, where he won by 3/4 length and completely missed a break that day. But he settled well after that, and when he got to the front end, he went away with it, a very good run. And then here at Ascot last year over the 6 in the Princess Margaret Keeneland Stakes, the horse went by length that day, and from a tracking trip, he really put on a show. So it was a good course and distance win. Coming back to 7 or to 6 furlongs, I think it's 7-1. A definite use in your place pod. But to recount my selection for the second, the 305 from Ascot. Now it's the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup. Let's take the 2 horses, Little Big Bear. Give kudos to the 11 horse Lizo. 211.8, Tri-Cash Trifecta. 211 in your place pod. The third race, the 340 now from Ascot. It is the Duke of Edinburgh handicap, Class 2 handicap, going for a $120,000 purse race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 19 horses are contesting the 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. I'm going to take here the number 3 horse, and pardon me if I mispronounced the horse's name wrong. The number 3 horse, Tamias Fox. I think I said it right. Going to go 311 in your forecast exacta. 311 forecast exacta. Top selection 3 horse Tamias Fox is Furugo Malupi de Vega. Andrew Balding trains this one. Ocean Murphy gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in Class 2 handicap in Newmarket, mile and a half on the 6th of May. And the horse won by 3 1/4 lengths that day. And from a tracking trip, he basically settled his way into the race very easily. When he got to the front end, he was done the drive and excelling. An all-around good race, stepping up in class. Nothing bad about that race. He's coming back to Ascot today, where he ran sneaky good here last summer. I'll give him a shot to find the winner's circle here again today. 2 back, he ran the 10th of March at Kempton, a mile and a half on the poly track in a Class 3 handicap. And he won by 4 3/4 lengths. And again, from a tracking trip, he was under the drive and excelling. An all-around easy run for him there, first back for the season. And then at Haydock staying 23rd of September, mile 3/4 soft ground. He finished 7 by 7 3/4 lengths, and he was under the drive from the back of the pack. Slowly moved his way into it at the 3 furlong pole, but that's when he just completely hit the wall. He just wasn't staying the trip late there. And then at Glorious Goodwood, a mile and a half in a Class 2 handicap. He finished 13th by 5.5 lengths. I've noticed horses that like Ascot don't like Goodwood. He did not like didn't like Goodwood that day. He just completely hit the wall there. And then Class 4 handicap here at Ascot last July, go over the mile and a half. He finished second by 1.5 lengths, and he had the lead. He got caught late, but he didn't go down without a fight. Nothing bad about the run. And then ran last year's King George, the 5th handicap, where he finished 6 by 2 1/4 lengths. And again, Secret State just had the jump on him, but he got around the race course well, getting Ocean Murphy up, who's had a bit of a somewhat quiet meeting so far. At 5-1, I'll give this horse a shot on the ticket. And also, I think the 11 horse here you could use on the ticket, Al Nafir for Charlie Appley and William Buick, a first-time gelding, most recently in the Old Rowley Cup handicap at Newmarket over the mile and a half in the fall. The horse went by a neck and had to be used a lot that day, but when he got the job done, he won quite nicely. Prior to that, in the Lavazza Stakes handicap, and that Heritage handicap on the 3rd September locally, he finished 6 by 10 1/4 lengths, and he just didn't break, which probably cost him that day. And then before that at York over the mile 3/4 in a handicap, he finished 5th by 9 3/4 lengths. Never really getting comfortable in that run, but I think coming here first time gelding, good poster, could be forwardly paced. I'm going to give him a shot here at 7-2. But to recount my selection for the third, the 340 from Ascot's the Duke of Edinburgh handicap. Going to take the 3 horse Tamias Fox. Give kudos to the 11 horse Al Nafir. 311 forecast exacta, using both in the place pot or the quad pot that begins with this race. Now the 4th race, the 420. It is a Group 1 Coronation Stakes. It's a Group 1 event going for $720,000 purse race for 3-year-old fillies. 7 horses are going 1,600 meters or a mile on the turf course. I think it's an exciting race here. I'm going to take as a top selection the 7 horse Tahira. I'm going to go 734 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 734 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection the 7 horse Tahira. 3-year-old filly here. Dermot Well trains this one. Gets the jockey booking of Chris Hayes coming in from Ireland to ride this horse. The horse's most recent outing came the 28th of May at the Curragh, 1 mile in the Irish 1,000 guineas, and the horse went by 1 1/4 lengths that day and got redemption from the previous race that day. Basically from a tracking trip, she slowly moved her way into it, and at 40 cents to the dollar, when she took off clear, she won for fun. That was a very good run that she put on a show. Coming here back to the UK, very good poster, could be forwardly paced on this course. I think she can run a good race. She probably would have won the Guineas if she broke here at Newmarket back on the 7th of May. 1 mile in the 1,000 Guineas. She didn't break. She missed a break, which cost her. Finished second by a half length. She was closing up well late, but Maj just had the jump on her. But she ran her heart out that day. And then before then, the Group 1 Moyglare Stud Stakes at the Curragh, 7 furlongs, 11th of September. Went by 2 1/4 lengths. She won on the front end quite easily, beating home the second place finisher, who was a eventual Breeders' Cup winner. So she got beat by a decent, she beat a somewhat decent horse that day. Coming here today, she has a massive shot of winning, but like I said, she'll have to break. She opposed to her last race in the UK. But I also think the 3-horse Meditate is your next likeliest winner. Most recently, the Irish 1,000 Guineas, she finished second by 1/4 lengths. And again, she had a good tracking trip. The winner was just gamer than her, but she got down the race course well. Prior to that, I don't think she liked the soft ground in the 1,000 Guineas at Newmarket, where she finished 6 by 11 1/4 lengths, and she was just never was comfortable that day. But she closed up from nowhere in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. A great ride by Ryan Moore that afternoon, and then a decent place in the Chevrolet Park Stakes, cutting back in trip. Another horse she could definitely win here. She won the Albany Stakes last year over the course, over the 6. 6-1, let's use her in the place pot. But to recount my selection for the 4th, the 420, it's a Group 1 Coronation Stakes. Going to take the 4-horse Tyra, give kudos to the 3-horse Meditate, 734 Tricast Trifecta, 7-3 in your quad pod. The 5 o'clock now, the 5th race. It is the Sandringham Handicap. It's Class 2 handicap, going for $120,000 purse. Race for 3-year-old fillies. Field 30 horses. So the studying this race was just a little bit tiring here. I've gone through nearly a half a can of coffee this week, which is quite incredible by the amount of racing forms I printed and studied over the since last Friday. I've started looking at these races. But you're not used to here in America these 30-horse fields. You're not used to sometimes 16-horse fields, let alone to the 30. But my top selection here in Sandringham, I'm going to go with the number 11 horse, the 11 horse who was Embrace. Let's go 11-9 in your forecast exacta. 11-9 forecast exacta. Top selection, the 11 horse Embrace. This as my computer crashes here on the side of my screen, but the 11 horse Embrace is 3-0 Philip by Lupe de Vega. Owen Burrows trains. Daniel Muscat gets them out. Most recently in the 1,000 Guineas at Newmarket over the mile on the 7th of May, the horse finished 10th by 15 lengths that day, and she just stalked early on, but then completely hit the wall, never getting the good turn of foot. It wasn't the day to win, but I do think she got outclassed by the others. Refreshing here to this handicap, drawn very well. Could be forwardly paced. She's in a better spot to win, and I think her speed figures could definitely win against these horses. Two back in the Fred Darling, the Group 3 Fred Darling Stakes in Newbury, 7 furlongs, 22nd of April. She finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths that day. She didn't break well. She moves somewhat a little bit late, but she still needs something more. Maybe off the bench she needed the race that day, but also it was a very tough race. But I do expect her to run a little better than that race today. And then on the 26th of November at Wolverhampton, 7.5 furlongs in a conditions race, 20 by 2 1/4 lengths. From a tracking trip, she quickened up nicely, and she went away with a very good run that day. And then on debut at Kempton over the 7, she finished 6 by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and she just never really got going until very late in the run, and she only beat a handful home. It wasn't, she needed the race for the experience that day, but she's definitely been on the improve with every single race. Coming here over the mile, back in, stepping down class, I'll give her a shot on the ticket. I think the 9 horse here, comp piece for John Gosden and Judd and Frankie Dettori, your second likeliest winner. Most recently in the 8th of May at Newcastle, 1 mile in a conditions novice race. The horse went by 3 1/4 lengths that day, and sitting back early, he slowly moved his way up, and when he got to the front end, he didn't really get the stick. It was a very exciting run at 40 cents to the dollar. Prior to that, the Neil Gwynn Stakes in Newmarket over the 7, the horse finished 10th by 9.5 lengths that day, didn't break, and never showed up. Soft ground probably got to this horse that day. And then the debut right before Christmas at Kempton over the 7, the horse by 1 3/4 lengths from a tracking trip. She took off clear and quite nicely. Coming here today, not the world's toughest race, gets a good poster at 7-2. I think this is one of Frankie's best chances of the day at Newmarket. So to recap my selections for the 5th, the 5 o'clock from Ascot, it's a Sandringham handicap. Gonna take as a top selection the 11 horse Embrace. Give kudos to the 9 horse Copice. 11-9 forecast exacta. Use them both in the quad pod. The 6th race now, the 535. It's the Group 2 King Edward the 7th Stakes. It's a Group 2 event going for a purse $300,000. Races for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of, let's see, as my page crashes again, field of 6 horses going 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the turf course. My top selection, I'm going to take the 2-horse Arrest, 2-4-3 in your tri-cash trifecta for me. 2-4-3 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 2-horse Rest, my best bet of the day. 3-year-old colt by Frankel. John Gosden trains. Frankie Dettori gets them out. The horse's most recent outing came at the Derby at Epsom, a mile and a half on the 3rd of June. And the horse finished 10th by 12 1/4 lengths that day. And, Frankie rode a terrific race for the first mile and a quarter or a mile and an eighth or so. He got good position. And then basically after that, in the final, 3 furlongs or so, he completely hit the wall. It just wasn't his day to win. Also, he's a little rambunctious that day on that very warm day. He's going to have to deal with crowds today, but I think where they start the mile and a half, there's a little lesser crowd. So I think he could settle well before the race. And I think he could, and also with some class relief, he could definitely win against these horses. Two back in the Group 3, Chester Vaz at Chester, a soft ground him on line 16th, 10th of May. He won by 6.5 lengths that day, and from a tracking trip, when he got to the front end, he kept going. An all-around easy run for him that afternoon. And then in the fall, on the 22nd of October at St. Cloud, a mile and a quarter in the Group 1. Criterium de St. Cloud. He finished second by a head. Dubai Mile really gamed this one to the wire to get the job done. This horse just couldn't get him late. I do think the soft ground got to him. And then a novice race, a false last 1 mile on the 26th of September. Went by 5.5 lengths at 15 cents to the dollar. One of the lowest priced horses I've seen in the UK in the last 8 years. The horse, from a tracking trip, he could have won around another 5 times and won quite easily. A very good run there. And then he won a main race at Sandown in August quite easily over the mile from a wide poster also. But coming here today, step down class, I think at 6:20, he's a very likely winner. Best bet of the day for me on this program. So to recount my selection for the 5:35, the 6th race from Ascot's to Group 2, King Edward the 7th Stakes. Going to take the 2-horse Arrest, 2-4-3, Tricast Trifecta, single the 2 in the multis. Let's get to the 7th race, the 6:10 now. The nightcap higher on the semi-finale card from the penultimate card of Royal Ascot for the year. The 7th race, the 6:10. It is the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes. I always mispronounce that race name wrong. Excuse me. It's the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes handicap. It's Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $120,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. Field of 28 horses going the distance of ground of 1,000 meters or 5 furlongs on the turf course. Gonna take the 10-horse Pillow Talk as a top selection. 10-5 in your forecast exacta for me. 10-5 forecast exacta. Top selection, the 10-horse Pillow Talk. Through Philip by Kodiak. Carlberg trains. Daniel Thudhope gets the mount. Most recently ran a listed stake, the Prix Marchand d'Or at Chantilly, 6 furlongs firm ground the 4th of June. And the horse finished 7 by 7 lengths that day, and he just never got going. He got beat by better horses on the day over the 6. It just wasn't his day to win. Stepping down to a handicap over the 5, which is his preferred trip, back to Ascot. I think he'd get a better trip. Two back at York in the Westow Stakes over the 5. 18th of May, and the horse finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day, and he stalked that day. He was on the drive, he was excelling, but great State, who had the jump on him, just had the extra real estate to get the job done. But this horse, he ran his heart out behind him first off the bench, and first in 11 months. 11 months prior, ran the Group 2 Norfolk Stakes here at Ascot, 5 furlongs the 16th of June, where he finished 6 by 2 3/4 lengths. He was on the drive. The 5 in front of him ran better, but he did get down the race course well. And then the Marygate Stakes at York, 5 furlongs, 13th of May, winning by a neck that day. And from a tracking trip, he won quite nicely. If you just take out the Chantilly race, he hasn't run half bad at all. 10-1 could be forwardly paced. I'll give him a massive shot on the ticket. And I also think your second likeliest winner in this spot is the number 5 horse here, who is, if my page could load up, and it just doesn't want to, but the 5-horse Hispanic, this 3-year-old colt by no-name Everino Bryan trains. Ryan Moore gets the mouth. Most recently in the Westow Stakes over the 5 at York, he finished 8th by 6.5 lengths that day and lost all chances when the gate opened because he jumped out of it. Literally, it looked like he was going over the hurdles at Aintree, but he jumped out of the stalls, which caused him, and never really showed up. It wasn't the day to win. Hopefully, breaking better so he could get close to the front end. On the stand side, it wouldn't surprise me if this horse steals it on the front end. Prior to the Doncaster Stakes over the 6 on heavy ground, he finished 4th by 4 lengths, and he had the lead. He got caught late, but he ran his heart out, showing some decent speed on the demanding ground. And then the Curragh in a main race, winning by 8 lengths from a tracking trip. He won quite easily that day, but like I said, he's going to have to break. He can't come out of the gate like he's at Aintree or at Cheltenham. He's going to have to break cleanly to win. 10-1. I'll give him a shot on the ticket 10 offs in the multi-race wagers in this very wide open finale. The 7th race now, the 6:10. To recap my selection for the 6:10, the 7th race from Ascot's the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes handicap. Going to take the 10 horse Pillow Talk. Give kudos to the 5 horse Hispanic 10-5 forecast exacta. Using both exacta forecast combinations there. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me throughout the tomorrow for the finale of Royal Ascot for this season. Good luck, everybody, and follow me on Twitter.